Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another video, my first of 2020. I've actually completed a battalion at long last. I didn't do any painting at all in December. I did actually try and film a update video about a week ago, but after 6 failed attempts I decided to just bin it and wait until I actually finish these guys. I actually finished them a little bit quicker than I was anticipating. And I'll get to those guys in a minute. I just want to quickly show you some reinforcements that I had come in. I suppose I've had them about a week now, or probably just over a week, because obviously I was thinking about putting them into my original failed update video. But basically I've been shopping with my bonus hobby fund that came in, and I went to Front Rank and I picked up 2 front rank battalions, of one of English and one of French. I really wanted to have, because I'm sort of getting quite close to completing the actual the 3rd Corps and the 3rd British Infantry Division now, I wanted to have some special units in there as a sort of, I suppose, as a little bit of a reward to me for actually coming, being on the getting close to the finishing line. But also these 36-man units will give me a nice chunk of extra guys, so that I can probably get the best part of another battalion out of each of them, with very little extra figures needed. So I was very happy to get those, and I haven't had a proper look through all of them yet, but I've had a good look through the British bag and a sort of a short look through the French, and I'm really happy with the quality of these guys. So yeah, so that's 2 big bucket list purchases there. Another purchase that came in, which I suppose could also be classed as a sort of bucket list Napoleonic item, is I picked up a battalion of French troops from Calpe. Well, it's actually a little bit more than a battalion, actually. I'll show you these guys just quick. But I mean, I've had a closer look at these guys, and I've got to say, I'm really impressed with not only the sculpts, but also just the overall quality of these guys. I mean, they had practically 0 flashing. They've got no mould lines, no miscastings, no nothing. They're absolutely A-class miniatures. So let's quickly show you what I got here. So like I said, I brought just a little bit over a battalion. So here we have a packet of officers on foot. You know me, I love my officer figures. I always have 2 officers on a command stand. And I also like having unique officers as well. So this will not only fulfill the job of giving me extra officers, which I do need, but also them all having unique poses compared to the Perrys and the Front Rank and the Warlord officers that I've used before. So I'm very happy with those guys. I always like officer figures. Now the bulk of the battalion. So here we have the command bag. It comes with 1 officer, the flag bearer, 2 eagle protectors, and a drummer. And of course I only use 1 eagle protector per battalion, so that will give me an extra eagle protector there. And of course the sapper. So yeah, very happy with those. Again, another unique command unit. Next up, Fusiliers. So we have a basic bag of 6 Fusiliers in, I think it's marching attack or attack column stance. Yeah, some great Fusilier figures there. Next up, we have another bag of Fusiliers. These are Fusiliers in enthusiastic poses. I really liked these figures. I really like the look of them. They're amazing sculpts. They're in really nice positions, and I'll probably split those up. So I'll probably have like 2 in my main battalion and 2 in another. And then finally we have 4 Volunteers and 4 Grenadiers. So that's that will complete the battalion, and of course, because I've got the sapper and I always put the sapper on the Grenadier stand, I'll have an actual spare Grenadier, which I can also put into a second battalion. So that is all my pickups. Very happy with those, and I suppose you could say that another pickup would actually be the battalion I've just done, because I actually ordered these guys from Perry's, and apart from a few, start bringing them in now, apart from a few spare Warlord 95th that I chucked into the skirmishers, these guys are all Perry's. So let me just bring them in. Okay, so here we go. So these guys, just zoom in a little bit. These guys are the 2nd King's German Legion, and they are a light battalion, and they didn't actually carry colours, these guys. So as you can see, there's no colours. Again, I got my uniform guide from my favourite website. So here we have the uniform guide that I used. You can see that they cover the centre companies there. You can see the officers are in sort of like rifle officer style garb, and if you go to up here, the flank companies. Oh, just missed that. Hold on. I've still got my painting gloves on. Actually, I literally just finished these guys. Hold on. Try and do things with gloves on. Right, here we go. Yeah, so here we have the flank companies. As you can see, these guys don't have Grenadiers. They just have riflemen as their flank companies. And again, you can see the officers are still wearing that rifleman style garb. So that was basically what I used as a uniform guide. I was actually quite chuffed to find out they were green jacketed, because I was kind of dreading having to do a sort of a red coat style light battalion, having to use all those flank company figures. But I'll go into a little bit more closer detail on these guys. So, like I said, these guys don't carry colours. The first King's German Legion could possibly have colours. I haven't really delved too much into those, but they're a slightly different style to these guys. They're actually they're built in a similar sort of style, as in the centre companies are made up of just regular musket armed troops with green jackets and regular sort of strapping gear, and the flank companies again will be made up of rifle armed guys. But the big difference between these and the second, or rather the second and the first, is that the first seem to have regular officers but in a green coloured jacket rather than a red. So I'll need to do a little bit of research to find out if those guys actually carried colours. But I did have a quick internet search on GMB to see if these guys did have a flag, and I found like an earlier flag, but not one for Waterloo. And I did actually come across some stuff on the internet that actually did say that they didn't carry colours at Waterloo. So whether they did have colours and they just didn't bring them, or whether they didn't have sort of battle colours at all, sort of thing. I'm sure they probably had them in some way or another, but I guess they never brought them out onto the battlefield. So we'll start with the flank companies, I guess, on these guys. So as you can see, these guys are actually made up out of a pack from Perry's, actually named the 2nd KGL Skirmishing, and you can see that one of them in the background there, this guy here, is actually a spare 95th guy because he hasn't got a backpack. But I suppose the main difference between these and the 95th is that they seem to like their moustaches, and they have this green lacing, a lot heavier green lacing than sort of the 95th or a British light infantry trooper. And of course they're armed with a rifle, or a Baker rifle. So that is the first stand of the flank companies for these guys. Then we have the second flank company. These guys have a single warlord guy as well. He's the guy at the front there. Now he actually had a flat cap. I think he had a flat cap. Well, one of them did. I actually converted both of them to wear Belgic Shakos, because one of them had a sort of a stovepipe style Shako one, and the other one had a flat cap. And I actually, you know, snipped it off at the bottom of the Shako, and of course the flat cap, and filed it down flat, and then cut a plastic head out of a normal Shako and superglued it on. But you can see this guy hasn't got the lacing because he's actually got a cover on. And when they did wear covers, they actually still had a pom-pom on top. And you can see that is a rather small pom-pom in comparison to the others, but I actually just made that out of a plastic putty. But yeah, it does the job. So you can see the other three guys on here are from the Perry's KGL, 2nd KGL skirmishing pack. So yeah, that's those. Then we have a normal stand of green jacketed troops. Now these guys are obviously the centre companies. They just basically, I think actually in the pictures they actually have like riflemen's tunics, but normal strapping, and of course you can't really find figures like that, so these guys are just basically bog standard British infantry with green jackets on, which is the next best thing, because you can't actually find just standard marching guys with rifle jackets, although you can actually get 2nd KGL skirmishing with muskets from Perry's, but obviously I didn't want a whole battalion of not only multiple positions, but the copies positions, but also the same, you know, all skirmishing basically. So here we have another stand of standard infantry. I went for forest type covering for these guys' bases. I thought let's have a little bit of a change and have these guys marching through a woodland for a little bit of a change. And I think it goes quite well with these guys not having colours. You know, they can dash through woods quite easily in comparison to a regular line battalion. So yeah, again, all these guys, all the normal rank and file troops are Perry's. So that's that stand out the way. Next up we'll go for this stand with a sergeant on. I always have my sergeant on the what would it be? Well, if you look at them from the front, the left hand side, and you can see this guy actually came from the 2nd KGL command pack that you can get. I did actually find that you actually got 2 sergeants and 2 buglers in that pack, so I basically whipped those out and they'll go into my 1st KGL when I start those guys. But yeah, these guys painted up really nicely actually. I gave them, for the first time I actually used a black undercoat for these boys, and it seemed to work quite well. So that is the NCO stand. And then finally the command stand. So let's bring that in. So on the command stand here we've got a bugler. He's got his bugle hanging at his side at the moment. We have 2 officers, and you can see that these guys are really really pushed up in their which is essentially cavalry gear. I mean they're more or less dressed like sort of hussar officers really. and you can see that they've got the same sort of cross belt, they've got the same cavalry style sabres, they've got the obviously they've got rimless shakos, they've got that really nice yellow and red dotted or red striped lace on their shakos. Yeah, I was really pleased with how these guys turned out, and of course the bugler with his red facings, and one trooper on the end there as a fill-in, and that is it. So I'm trying to cut down the length of this video. So yes, I'm pretty pleased with these guys actually. I mean, I'm always a little disheartened when a particular unit hasn't got colours, but at the same time, it was for speed wise, it certainly sped up the process, not having to bother with putting flags on at the very end. They based up pretty quick. I think I basically think these guys took me around about just over a week in total to complete, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with them actually. They'll go well into my into the rest of my British Army. Now next up, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do next, but it's probably either going to be another KGL unit, because basically I believe it's the 1st and the 2nd and the 5th and the 8th are the 4 battalions that I need to do, and the French battalions, I can't remember their regiment numbers at the moment, but they're basically just 4 French infantry line regiments, so there's nothing super special about those. But of course the actual figures themselves will be the enjoyment of doing those particular French battalions. And that's probably about it. I mean, obviously during December I did a lot of watching videos, and probably a lot more commenting than I normally would, because I was feeling a little bit guilty about not doing any painting myself. I think I've got a couple of new subscribers, so thank you for that. It's rather strange. Every now and then I seem to lose a couple of subscribers, and then you know, within 3 or 4 or 5 weeks I seem to get them back, and it's happened 2 or 3 times now, so it's very strange. You know, you literally just lose 2 subscribers, and then you know, sort of a month later you somehow manage to get them back. So thank you to new subscribers. I hope you enjoy the content, and yes, I guess that's about it. So until next time, catch you all later. Goodbye.